All right. If you watch no other video today, please watch this video. This One Nation press conference in New South Wales. It goes for 5 minutes and I want to talk to you for a minute after. Please just watch it.
Will you dump foreign investments in the renewable energy zones in the New England and Central West? Won't that be a bad sign to people that do want to invest in New South Wales if you are changing policy about renewable energy?
Well, look, a lot of this is dead on arrival. I mean, this is the thing. Renewable energy, I mean, and this goes to Energy Co, right? You would have seen the Bush Summit, and there was a Karl Stefanovic interview where one of the local in Walker had their property trespassed illegally on. This is, if your energy policy is so fantastic, you don't need to be. If your social licence is so strong, why would you need to trespass illegally on the land? And I think if we win government, I want to find out who the bureaucrats were that allowed that to happen, and those people should be fired.
Can I add to that? Because it is...
Every single one.
Seeing it is about New England. I tell you what, you said it might be dead. We want the reses dead and buried in the swamps with the mammoths. Yep. That's where the reses belong. We have tonight people stacked up in the Walk Road Hotel protesting against these reses. We're going to have a camp of 1,200 people near the village of Kentucky with 301. No new police. We've got another one of possibly 800 people on top of the Walk Road Hill. We have communities divided because of transmission lines that have decimated the value of their place and desecrated the landscape. We have people who cannot sell their place because they're surrounded by these swindle factories, these intermittent power precincts of photovoltaic black, and I'm meeting them all the time. We go to Dubbo, they're protesting against the swindle factories. We go to Walco, they're protesting against the swindle factories. You go to Central Queensland, they're protesting against the swindle factories. I can tell you who's not protesting against the swindle factories. The foreign companies who are getting secret capacity investment scheme deals, which we can't see the details of, which are not for publication in the budget. They're not protesting as they cream the Australian taxpayer and at the same time force poor people into poverty. Put poor people into their car so we can line the pockets of domestic billionaires and foreign multinationals for this at the expense of the Australian people. Right down the road here, Tomago. Tomago never needed a rescue package when they used coal-fired power. When we had that evil coal-fired power, we had a plastics industry, we had a urea industry, we had a glass industry, we had no problems in an aluminium industry. This is how lost and bereft of ideology the socialists, they're not Labor, there's no labourers in the Labor Party. Forget that idea, they're all ex-university students with a chip on their shoulder. I'll tell you what, there's a bloke called Neville Wran. He used to be the Premier of New South Wales. He talked about when he opened Eraring, how it attracted this great new aluminium industry into the area. They're opening coal-fired power stations. Now the socialists, with no labourers in their party, are closing them all down because that works so well on Sydney Harbour when they're having a knees up with their mates in the Enlightened Club. Now, I just want to close this because you got me on a raw point. When I go out to the coal mines, their biggest threat is a safeguard mechanism. I don't know who it's keeping safe, but it's not the workers. It's going to kick them out of a job. And they talk about fugitive emissions. I'll tell you the only fugitive, the Labor Party's socialists. They're the socialists are the fugitives, and we're not going to deal with emissions. We're going to deal with ejections and eject them out of their jobs and back to, stacking shelves at Bunnings. Maybe they can learn about real life.
Well, Barnaby, just to add to that, just 1 second, just to add to that, right? We're having a conversation around data centres, and the New South Wales government wants to enforce 40% of it to be wind power. Now, if renewables are supposedly the cheapest form of energy, why would the government need to mandate it? Surely a data centre would just go, that's the most logical thing to do, I'm going to go full wind power, but they're not. And that's why this whole, as Barnaby called it, swindle factories, these things, look at offshore wind is another one of the biggest jokes that I said when I was the commissioner. Offshore wind will never happen because the economics do not work. People need to understand that the wind turbine installation vehicles that you have to rent cost US $500,000 a day, right? So you tell me if you have to rent these things for months on end to put out these offshore wind towers, the economics just do not work. So that's why whenever you hear more promises, whether it's batteries or whatever, It's your tax money that's funding it, right? And as I said, these are the nicotine patches Chinese sells us in solar, wind and batteries, and that is a problem.
And one more thing that we'll be implementing, guys, is RIBs, renewable investment bonds, the same as we have to have with the mining industry, that land must be rehabilitated before that's handed back, because we're going to end up with fields and fields of solar panels and wind turbines that are going to be left there. Talk about stranded assets. We're going to have fields of those, especially out in the central west of Rana. So we're not going to leave this hanging around the taxpayer's neck or the farmer's necks. So
First comment right there, I totally agree. If you could nominate a press conference for a fucking Logie, this would be it. If this is a taste of the One Nation New South Wales team, I'm all in, even though I'm not there. Like, finally, somebody's saying this shit out loud. Where's all the fucking money going from all this investment into green energy into different companies we don't know about, we don't ever find out about? You've got the people now, you know, Barnaby and Michael Newman, I think his name is. I'm sorry if I've got that wrong. They're saying the quiet shit out loud now. We want to know where all this foreign investment's going, who are the politicians who are involved in this shit, who's doing all the trespassing. You know, I just find, like, I hope to God, hey, you've already watched this. I hope you've already watched the 5-minute video. I'm not going to bear you to make you listen to me. But that's how you do a press conference. Honest to God. Passion, truth, talking about some of the shit we don't ever talk about because we can't talk about anything negative about climate and about climate change or renewables or anything like that. Trust the science. We heard that with COVID, right? Trust the science. We're hearing that with climate change. Trust the science. We hear that with batteries from Chris Bowen about fucking cars. Anyway, that's a fucking press conference. What do you think? Comment below. Let me know.